Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 66 of the Swamp Creatures here on the Swampcast Network. Tonight, we are joined by Diego Rivera from Bring Our Troops Home.
What's up, man? Thank you for coming in.
Oh, all right. So we're good. We're live?
Welcome. Yeah, we're live.
We are live now.
All right. Sweet, man. Thanks for inviting me on. I didn't know about the little clip until I looked and I saw Josh Smith's face getting thrown out of a helicopter, and then there's an alligator, and I'm like, wait, what's the context here? Because I was like, wait, are we supposed to be killing Josh? Like, I didn't know, and then he explained it to me, and I was like, oh, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I had to ask him too. I was like, we let that go a while ago. Josh is a buddy, so but we keep him in there. I like the clip, the thumb art though. You're looking official in the suit. Was that Conor McGregor suit style right there?
Here's the thing. They're all paisley. I have about 15 different blazers, and I'll wear a Texas formal, which is, blazer, white shirt, tie, but then jeans and cowboy boots for events. And then that's all stems from the fact that I hate dressing up. So it's a clown show for me, and I'm going to make it a clown show for you too. That's how much I don't like dressing up. Like, I look at it like it's just fucking weird. So all my suits are paisley of one color variation or another. I have one black suit.
You should go bolo tie sometime. Bolo tie would be a pretty good move.
I don't think I can pull that off, dude. I'm Cuban, man.
Dude, I don't know. You with the cowboy hat and the bolo tie?
I mean, you are also a Texan, it sounds like, too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Jersey, man, so I can only pull off so much. You know what I
mean? Make it a show, just like you said. But honestly, thank you for coming on. I know you got done doing some very hard work out in Arizona, making some calls for Defend the Guard. That's the whole reason why we have you on today. It's a piece of legislation that's near and dear to my heart, and I hope we can work with you here in Florida to bring it to Florida. I went on the website. You guys have 3 articles and 2 reps to call who are representing, or I guess who have supported this bill in the past. SB number 422 and then HB number 261 here in Florida. So, any updates in Defend the Guard? Where's the latest efforts?
Here's the reality is that Melanie Bell is one of the sweetheart legislators. When she ran it, she essentially ended up killing it herself. She's not a champion, and what you need is a champion, because you have to understand what this bill is, right? This bill is not something like I'll give you an example. In Texas, when it was being heard, right before they were hearing Defend the Guard in committee, they heard for a bill to extend the Purple Heart Highway. And it took all of about 3 minutes for them to hear people out. They voted on it, and then unanimously all voted in support of it. Now, following that, Defend the Guard comes up to be heard. And what do? Well, now they're skeptical because this has real implications. So what they're telling you is that they don't mind extending the Purple Heart Highway. But the thing that would stop making Purple Hearts, well, hold on. Right? So this is a bill with real teeth, with real consequences that you could go back to your district and virtue signal off of, but not in the way that you'd like. So you need a champion to do this, and Melanie's just not that person.
What about this Senator Jason Pizzo?
No, because none of them, they didn't even file it. So that's just, you need a bill champion. You're gonna have to find an Anthony Sabatini type in the Florida House, and then you're gonna have to work with him. And it has to be constant communication. And let me just tell you right now, if you're not in constant communication, which means I'm in communication with them in reality, is you have to, first things first, give him armor, right? Educate him, right? Have a ledge packet. Like, I have one here, but we have a electronic one, right? And this has everything from the narrative to explaining the bill, to its support, national support, obstacles that you're going to run up against, responses to those obstacles. You're going to find, national support. Rand Paul flew out all the way to Wyoming to support this bill there. Paul Gosar wrote an article in the Libertarian Institute supporting it in his state of Arizona. And you give him that ledge packet, which means you're informing him, right? You're giving him the ammunition to go up and fight these people, right, for this bill. If you don't do that, It's not serious. So give your these bill champions, right? You're asking them to fight, and they're going to take arrows. So give them armor and then back them up, which means that when he starts taking those arrows, you guys get on the phones and you back him up.
And let's briefly, for anyone who re-listens to this, if you don't know what Defend the Guard is, just briefly explain to them what it is. And even you can take a look at the actual language. It's one page, guys, maybe 1 or 2 pages, about 40 to 50 lines long. It's very short and to the point.
Correct. And this is the simplicity of it. This was a bill that was crafted up by the 10th Amendment Center. And all it said.
Did Mike Mahari have something to do with this?
Right. And Bolden. So this is all it says, is without a formal declaration of war as required per the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, right, that the states reserve the right not to send their National Guard into active overseas combat. That's it. It's that simple.
Boom. That's the best thing ever. To me, to libertarians everywhere, that is what we're looking for, right? And this came up because the founder, I believe, of Defend the Guard was from Louisiana, right? And whenever Hurricane Katrina hit, they didn't have
Dan's from Idaho.
He's from Idaho?
It's so weird to hear Dan being from Louisiana.
Okay, I thought there was something about Katrina thing.
No. So what he was talking about is how the National Guard, instead of being, their motto is always ready, always there. But you find when all of these catastrophes are happening, well, where's the National Guard? Well, they're off being deployed overseas combat. So that's what he was talking about.
Which is huge here in Florida because just like Louisiana, we get a lot of hurricanes and a lot of natural disasters here too. So we need them here for sure.
Yep. In fact, the Florida National Guard was just pulled out just right before the Russian invasion into Ukraine. So, I mean, we're talking pretty sketchy territory here.
Mm-hmm. They were training Ukrainian soldiers over there, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, there is also an article up on the Florida link on Defend the Guard's website about that, which was, to my side, like no one knew about it until you guys started tweeting about it and brought light to it, and I was like, why is our National Guard
right
in Ukraine? You know why? And that just has to do with, I guess, the broader foreign policy of the United States right now as well. And that's what this bill does. It's chipping away at that. Like, if we're going to go to war, there needs to be a declaration of war on the table.
Right. And what I like about this bill is it's a Rorschach test for you, not for us or the bill. So this bill, you could just be a straight up constitutionalist. You could be an anti-war libertarian. You could be a pro-war guy that just wants to follow the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
You could fit almost anywhere on the spectrum. Minus, let's just rip up the Constitution, right?
Yeah, so minus a dirty politician.
Right. So let's say establishment right all the way left, right? That's essentially the people that would oppose it. But these are not the people that are filing these bills. Are not they? Some of them are very Ron Paulian type libertarians, but some of them are just let's say constitutionalists, maybe more MAGA types that are filing this bill. So like I say, it's a Rorschach test it's what you see into it. Now, I'm with you guys. I'm anti-war as hell. So this works for us too. And we know the implications of this bill too, which is that good luck getting Congress to actually do their job. Bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. When did you get involved in all of this? When did you say, this is what I want to do?
Right. So I was at Yale and I was listening to Scott Horton's show, and there's this guy called Dan McKnight, and he's on there. And I'm like, this is really fucking interesting. And I'm at the Yale office, and 2 days later, I get a call from Bring Our Troops Home. It says, hey, you want to come down to D.C. and do some citizen lobbying for this bill or for our foreign policy? And I was like, hell yeah, dude. So rushed down there. We did it. I mean, I went and talked to everybody. I went and talked to senators, congressmen, staffers. I even talked to the chief staffer for the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And I gave him I went full autismo, full Scott Horton, and I gave it to him good and strong. And he just said, yeah, there's no political will for it. And essentially, I Googled him, I looked him up. He's essentially like a spook, like a CIA spook that's just been moving around from office to office in DC his entire career. And we got nowhere. So Dan McKnight came back, assessed it, did an after action review. looked at it and said we need to focus on the states. Well, there just so happens to be a beautiful bill that we can focus on that's all about radical decentralization on matters of foreign policy. Bam. And that's been our main project. Aside from our political leadership school, that's been our main project, overwhelmingly main project.
Nice. Hector Roos, listener of the show, and also a gubernatorial candidate here in Florida, asked this question. So I popped it up because that's kind of what you were alluding to there. Is that one of the things that you're running into consistently is people going, hey, there's no political will for it. Just these catch-all establishment arguments. What other arguments are you kind of running into by the opposition?
No. I mean, you're going to run into it. This is what's funny too, is that I don't know if you can see this, but this is why I say have a ledge packet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things you're going to run up into is like they'll mention problems with Article 10, which is where the National Guard comes under the purview of the president. They're federalized into it, and they can be called up to, stop an invasion, suppress an insurrection, and uphold the laws of the Union. Well, that's great. We have no qualms about that. But if you want to go to war, you have to make a declaration of war. That is the law of the Union. So this is actually focusing on the strength of the Constitution much more than it is like a nullification of any sort of thing.
They're like, no, we just want to be able to go to war whenever we want.
Right. Yeah. Another thing that you'll hear is, well, this is going to cost the states a lot of money. That's what the generals come in, is that you don't understand so much of the federal budget is going to get shifted and where they're going to pull bases. Liz Cheney told my buddy while we were in D.C. that she told my buddy that we'd never pull out of these wars. But as far as this bill, Liz Cheney personally promised to pull 2 C-130s out of the state of Wyoming and move them to Texas if this bill passed, out of spite. So this is what they threatened. And the generals come in there and they lobby. In West Virginia, we had 2 3-star generals sit in the speaker's office for 3 hours, chew them out. The speaker was still going to hear it. Another 3-star general goes in there, chews them out, threatens to pull the National Guard base from his district if this bill is heard.
So really, Liz Cheney and this other guy are threatening Americans here at home with national defense, right? If Wyoming, like, what are they going to do without their C-130s?
Which I just got to say, that's really funny to hear because these are the people who are always playing we need to do this to protect people cards.
Right. These are the people who are big military people, big, strong military defense. They'll probably voted for the budget,
Right, but you remember, these are Trotskyites. They really belong on the left, and so for them, hypocrisy is never a problem. Liz Cheney is a leftist.
There you go. Hector had another maybe not so much of a question, but a point and a question in and of itself, going back to the Florida Guard. So is it true that they just moved our guys from Ukraine to Poland after the shelling started there?
I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah.
I don't know. And what's the question?
He said not true. That was it's not really a question. So I guess he's stating that that's what happened to him.
I absolutely believe it. I mean, if you told me that they were there, I would believe it too. Now we got that leak from the kid Jack Teixeira that says that that there was 14 special operators in Ukraine, but I wouldn't. Why would I not believe that there's more? You know what I mean? I know how this thing works.
Compartmentalized, and those are the ones that he knows about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So how'd it go in? Sorry, did you have something?
No.
Yeah. How'd it go in Arizona? Did you guys get any headway going over there? I know you were calling us, trying to make some efforts to help you guys out, and I just wanted to see how that was doing, and where are these successful efforts that where the bill is passed?
They're successful in that they're heard and that they're voted on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the success, when it doesn't die in a drawer, but we get receipts. Because remember, that's what we're trying to do. If this bill is serious in its intent, and it is, right, and it's not a virtue signaling bill, then what this is going to take time. It's not going to be an overnight success, but it's going to be when people get serious. Like, for example, I saw, just as an aside, I saw a New Hampshire libertarian saying, when are we going to start living by our motto, live free or die? And in my head, instantly it popped up. Well, when you're willing to die for it, That was my response. And so to libertarians, when we want to end wars, well, we have to mobilize for it. So when libertarians get serious, that's when we'll see it move forward. When they stop making excuses, you know, and when they realize that things are on the line and they have to mobilize and they have to do it, then we'll get stuff done. But it was still a huge success in that. Look, we got it through in Arizona. We got it through a committee. We got it past the Senate, unanimously supported by Republicans. All but one Democrat voted against it. They voted not voting. So pretty much every Democrat voted against it. And now their arguments too were federal spending and a whole bunch, a slew of a bunch of lies and all this stuff. Now, what I do like, as a quick aside, is that my favorite, and this is why I say you want to build champion. So let me describe Wendy Rogers. She's not a libertarian. She is like a based MAGA grandma who is a retired fighter pilot. And when the generals went to try to roll her up, she rolled them up and said, why don't we just follow the Constitution and we'll figure out the federal spending issue afterwards?
Yeah.
Right. And she dunked on them. And that's how it got through, was that people mobilized and the bill champion stood strong and did not back down. So in Arizona, we got it through an entire body. This bill went from we can't have this can't even be heard, to now the narrative has shifted to, do we want to be the first state to pass it? Right? In Montana, we had this heard. It passed the House, a committee in the House. It did not pass the House. It failed by 11 votes, but that's when you realize that 30 Democrats voted against it.
Right.
2 Democrats voted for it, but it failed by 11. But I'll give Liam McCollum over in Montana a lot of credit, because him and the guys put it through the Senate again, had it heard in committee one more time, and got votes there. So we had 3 different votes on essentially the same bill, which means that we now have targets. And the positive thing about this is now we know who our enemies are. You know, we're in a target-rich environment. If we can get serious and mobilize, we can start going for scalps. There's nothing that says we can't. And when we can start showing scalps, that's when we will be feared.
So the first time you kind of get the lay of the land, and then, you know, next few times you see who you can work with and who's directly an enemy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about receipts. It's the most important thing that shows you where they're at, not on how constitutional or libertarian or whatever. There's plenty of libertarians that are like libertarian that are complete feckless fucking pussies on this issue.
And this is the most important issue. In my opinion, this is the most important issue in all of politics, is foreign policy and keeping us from being the world police. So that's one of the reasons why I became a libertarian.
Right.
Yeah. I'd like to see us get some receipts here in Florida. So
you got to find a bill.
We're going to talk after the show. Yeah, we're going to talk after the show, but I definitely want to work with you on this, at least with the LP here. And I know we have a bunch of people who want this same thing. I even wonder, what do you think about Matt Gaetz?
He's great, but he's a congressman.
He is a congressman, but he does hold a lot of town halls, and I know he's got connections within the Florida.
Well, here's something that would work too: is have a printout of Paul Gosar's op-ed in the Libertarian Institute. Have maybe the model legislation. Show up at the town hall, ask him the question, make sure you record it. Then afterwards, come up, hand him this, and say, you know, if you did something like this would help a lot of Floridians out as well. And I think that with some sort of sincerity, I would buy it, because let's not forget, this is the guy that put forward all the rest, like calling for receipts to undo these AUMFs and get votes on it. It's not so much that it failed, because it failed spectacularly, especially when they didn't matter, they all voted unanimously. The 2001 stayed right there. So these are the kind of guys that I would hand this to, and I would say, who's a good legislator? Who could you recommend? Could you put this out there and publicly support this?
Right.
And getting something like that and recording it too, so you have him on record, right? Because he's still a politician, so you still need to get him on record. And that would do big things. If people would show up. The thing is, you got to tell libertarians, hey, you have to go do something, and you can't just retweet about it, and that's going to be your hardest obstacle.
Yeah. is getting people mobilized. That is the hardest obstacle.
And that's
for
the most
libertarians.
effective thing a libertarian could do is mobilize. It's not run candidates. They're not going to win. So like, what's the point? The point is to mobilize and put the fear of God in these politicians. And whenever libertarians do, we wreak havoc. If you can make that politician or a group of politicians feel like a caged animal, that's when you get concessions. That's when you get late night calls after they've been beat up all day in their offices and they can't find a corner to seek safe refuge. And you call them and they're beaten up and there's arrows sticking in and out of them. And when you call them and you say, hey, I'm with Bring Our Troops Home. This is one of my bills. Why hasn't this been heard? And with tears in their eyes, you can hear it where they're almost about to cry. They'll be like, look, man, it's just like this is this. And that's when you get, I want this heard. And that's when you get the, fine, yeah, I'll hear it or whatever. That's when you get movement on something you want. Is you have to be able to do that. Whenever you can do that, you'll have more success than not. If you don't do that, it's just virtue signaling.
Who cried? Who was crying?
Oh, many. I've had many. In fact, here, let me play you a cool one. This is Arizona, but I want libertarians to hear this and think, if I can replicate this for my issues, right? And you do what I'm telling you, which is get a ledge packet, be able to mobilize, be serious, you will have success. Let me play this for you because this is the beauty of grassroots. This is libertarians' real armor, or I should say, this is like the real weapon that they have is this. Here, let me play this for you.
Thank you for calling Senator Hoffman's office. How may I help you?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can put a little pressure on the senator and hope that he'd vote for this new Defend the Guard bill that we saw that's coming up. I think it's 1367.
Correct. Yes, and that's not a problem. A lot of people have called in, and we're up to over at least 200 on the third floor.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much.
Y'all are very passionate about this bill.
No, but it was on the radio today. I think people finally heard about it. It's unbelievable that someone's finally going to make Congress do their job. That's the role of the state Senate or the state legislatures.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're all in favor of it. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it would be political suicide if anybody said no.
I think you're right. The veterans and the American Legion. The American Legion National President. We just heard an interview with him.
Political suicide if anyone said no.
Yep.
Damn.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's
good shit. Yeah.
That's the most effective thing a libertarian can do is actually mobilize. You have no idea if 5 libertarians from each state got together, bought 2 boxes of pizza and a Coca-Cola and got together for 3 to 4 hours and made a couple hundred phone calls, you would have a different America. 5. And here's the cool thing. When it's being heard in Florida, guys from Montana and Maine and other places can just easily get a spoof app, change the area code number, and call for Florida. Mm-hmm. Expect that when Montana has to get it heard and Liam calls you out and says, hey, Florida, help me out, you can deliver and say, I'll give you 200 calls today.
Yeah.
Guys, who's gonna help me? And once you can do that, you will be living in a different country, or at least bare minimum, because I don't want to speak for all libertarians, because God knows, you would at least have a different state.
I know a lot of us would have been more able to help you back in, I think it was back in April. We had convention. A lot of the main people who were working here for the LP in Florida, we were all geared up towards convention too. So yeah, that was a hurdle here in Florida. But I hope I put the word out. I hope some of our guys did help out. I think Pat helped out a little bit. So
okay,
yeah, we definitely.
That's what will get you. That's what will get you closer to the finish line. Mm-hmm. Anything else, you're just wasting your time. Not to say that it doesn't help to find build champions and all that stuff, but that without the mobilization aspect of it is just essentially just pure masturbation.
So you're just saying build champion, mobilization equals success.
I'm saying you have to do everything that I said, but if you don't mobilize, you did all of that for nothing. Right? It's like you had the date with the pretty chick, You come home, you're both laying in bed, and then you cuddled all night. Mobilization is what gets you to the finish line.
There you go.
Just
Close. You got to be able to close.
You got to be able to close. And that's the part that matters. And that's the part that sucks the most. But actually, one of the most refreshing things I've watched big L people make phone calls for an issue, watch them swayed votes. So they were calling the offices, and they were like, man, they're not giving me an answer. They're refusing to answer. 2 hours later, 3 hours later, I'm on the phones too. So I'm hearing the tone behind these staffers, and they're a little like, it's just like, yeah, listen, it's just, and then an hour after that, and they're getting flips on the votes, right? And it's not that all of a sudden every single Republican senator in the state of Arizona just got great.
It's the numbers.
It was the sheer amount. It was the political suicide aspect of that. But that does not come without mobilization. It's the most important thing, especially being a big L, that you could do.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. And that's a huge problem, is the organization of the Libertarian Party right now. Like a lot of people will just vote Libertarian, and that's all the numbers we have to go off of. So there could be 2,000 in your county, but then 4 show up to your county affiliate meeting. How do you get those people and retain them from presidential election to presidential election? Are these people actual libertarians, or are they protest voting? Who are these people? Who are these people?
Well, it's your job to seek out that remnant, right?
Yep.
It's also your job to get in and throw a little cold water on their faces. And here's what I've done is I've essentially told libertarians all across this country, you're a book club masquerading as a political party, and you will not be taken seriously until you're willing to mobilize. And that's harsh, but I say that almost with like tears in my eyes, because I fucking love you guys. I mean, I've got right here, there's Ron Paul.
Nice.
Next to my Mises Youth diploma. So it breaks my heart when, they don't take it seriously. And like you said, war, it's the worst thing. I mean, even if you're a conservative, if you want to limit government, limit the most dangerous, wildly dangerous aspect of government, the most violent part of government. So like, even from that perspective, but it breaks my heart when libertarians don't do that. But I've noticed that if you tell them the truth, right? You're talking to the remnant, right? This is Isaiah's job all over again. Give it to them good and strong, and keep on giving it to them. And when they wake up and they realize, I've been LARPing. This is a dress rehearsal. This is a book club.
Mm-hmm.
This is a political party. I have to go out there and do this. And when they get that idea, and then here's the thing, we also do the school, so we help educate them on how, so that they don't go out there and say, we're going to mobilize. What are we going to do? We're going to wave lawn signs. Fuck. No, don't do that.
Yeah. Make calls.
Right.
Do
stuff that's effective. But we also have a school that helps you and points you in the right direction.
Like Defend the Guard school, Guard.
Yeah. So, it's our political leadership school. It's tailored for, hey, this is how you put forward Defend the Guard. But like I said, with any issue, whether it's legalization of marijuana, getting rid of red light cameras, privacy issues, gun issues, whatever it is, you apply the same principles that you're taught in this class. You put that out and you do it. So, for example, get a ledge packet, build a 5-column analysis of every committee. Do you guys know what a 5-column is?
Enlighten me.
So just think of a spectrum, five rows. Let's say it's going to be heard in committee. Every single person that's in that committee, put them there on the box. Put them wherever they are on the 5-column, from double negative to double positive.
Mm-hmm.
And place them to see where you're at. Give your bill champion a path to victory. So show him, look, these are the votes that we need to get if we can do this. I'm going to go mobilize calls and move these people. And where am I going to start? Well, I'm going to start with the single pluses rather than the single negatives. Most people assume, go for the Liz Cheney types and try to swing their vote. That's never going to happen. Go for the low-hanging fruit first. The neutrals and the single pluses will see you beaten up on the people that they thought you're allied with, and then they move to your side.
Mm-hmm.
But it's little things like that. Is how to do a 5-column analysis, how to whip up a Red Fox 4. We talk about the real nature of politics. We talk about leadership. We talk about knowing your battles. So I'll give you an example. We had a lot of fun in Arizona. The Speaker of the House had a boner for trying to kill this bill. And so
what a dick.
And this is after calls and calls and calls. And he just kept making excuses, trying to lie to us, run out the time clock. So I have a buddy in Central Phoenix. And what I did was I printed out 250 pieces of paper that's lit with his face next to Katie Hobbs. So the Republican Speaker of the House, standing right next to Katie Hobbs, asking why he doesn't support the National Guard, why he doesn't support the Constitution. Printed out 250 pieces of paper. I had a buddy that lived there. It took him about 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours. We dropped his neighborhood, his surrounding neighborhood, the chairman of that committee that it would have went to, and I think maybe some donors. And then we put a video of us door knocking his house, like where it even shows the number. So he goes, "That's my house." Then we said we dropped 40,000 pieces in his district. And then we made a video and put out his personal cell phone number for the entire internet. And we put that video out there. And still to this day, that man believes that we dropped his entire district. And I did that with one guy and 250 pieces of paper in 2.5 hours. That's how to essentially understand what can I do with the resources I have.
Yeah.
People, time, money, etc. So we go over that. We go inside operations, build champions, people on the inside, outside operations, you guys, mobilizing, all this stuff. And then the difference between election season and the legislative season and understanding that. So we break it down into 6 modules, but people come out different. They come out almost like true believers, but for, I say libertarians have, their political IQ is a 10. Or no, excuse me, their political philosophy is a 10. Their political IQ is a fucking 0. This moves them up there. This makes them like a 6.
You fake tanked them is what you did in World War II when they had the balloon tanks out there for the Nazis.
Right.
Good
So
strategy.
yeah, so it's ways to be clever. Show up to their let's say they're having a town hall. What did we just talk about with Matt Gaetz? But what if instead it's Dan Crenshaw and it's a donor meeting and you show up outside and you say, "Do you know he supports red flag gun laws?" And then all of a sudden his donors are coming out to ask you, why are you here? Well, do you understand that this man's not good on guns? He's not good on guns. No, he supported red. Look here, this and this. Well, screw that. Or call his donor list and say, "Why don't support this man? This man's a gun grabber," or something like that. And so it's about, hurting these people with their pocketbooks, with their elections, with all that stuff. Essentially, it's beautiful. It's like how to terrorize politicians. And if libertarians learned how to do that, they could be really effective because
that should be something that libertarians love to do anyway, right?
Right. Yeah. And they do once they do it. That's the wonderful thing, is that I believe that this will change libertarians in the sense that there's always some sort of resentment because it is like a book club. And so this makes you effective. This makes you you have successes. You could see where you need to move the ball. You understand the game. It's almost like it's like that movie Nefarious where he's like, "You ready for round 2?" He goes, "I didn't know this was a fight." And he goes, "That's why you're losing."
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you have to realize what the game is and where it's at. Where's the puck at? I didn't even know this was, what we were playing. So this helps them get there. And that changes the resentment aspect. That changes the revolving door of people that just want to help and do the right thing. But it also makes them more serious. So it helps bring people in. It actually gives you something to focus on, right? Like I say, libertarians are they're having real fights with each other, but they're fake activists. And this changes that entire thing. It brings people together. It stops the resentment, right? It really can unify people to get common things done together, to go in the trenches with your brother. You come out of it a little bit different. You are effective. It has lasting power with grassroots activists because now, for the first time ever, instead of saying, "I'm going to run for office," and at the debate stage, I'm going to poke them in the eye with this question, you get 5 people together, like I said, with 2 pizza boxes, 2 pizzas, 2 pies, a 2-liter Coke or whatever, chips. get your guys together to make 4 hours of phone calls on a random Monday or Tuesday or whatever it is.
I'll say I'm going to push back a little bit on you because I think in the last year and
Okay.
in the last 2 years, the LP can do that, right? There's people that are willing to
Okay.
meet up and be political activists now with
Sure.
the whole Mises takeover now. Now, 2 years ago, I don't think that would have been the case. I think it would resemble more like a book club.
No.
Like,
I agree with you. There's been progress, and trust me, I'm very happy with the direction that it's gone in. And this isn't even to say, like, it's almost like the dog that yelps is the one that got hit. So like, if this offends people watching it, you're the one that got hit. If it doesn't, then that's perfect, because if you didn't know, you didn't know. So
Yeah.
you can't be blamed for something you didn't know. And if you're just now knowing about it and get excited, well, that's great. I'm happy for you. This is progress. So again, it's the it's the dog that yelps that got hit. So I'm not here to offend the people. And there's people that fucking bust their ass, and I love them to death. Like, I cannot say enough good things about Liam McCollum in Montana. I love him to pieces. I want to just give him like a cosmic hug every time, because I know what that man did. And that's a fighter, and I love that. And if we get more of that throughout the country, we'll have a different country.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And I'm not, I know exactly what you're saying. People do get offended and whenever you call them out on their bullshit a lot of times, because that's what it is. It's like excuses for not doing a lot. But we do have some workhorses, at least here in Florida. I know we have some workhorses that would be willing to put their time and effort into projects like this, right? And get together and make
100%. And that's what I want to do with all you guys is I want to make you animals. I want to make you the most politically feared people in the state of Florida.
Yeah, like Hector said down here, it's a good training opportunity. Like, that course sounds like it would do a lot of libertarians here and everywhere a load of good. So we can talk more about that after the show and see what the details are and logistics.
Yeah, I think we started off with like 25 in Arizona, and by the time we did the third class, I think we had like 80 to 100 people there. Because what happens is they learn it, they apply it, they do it. People see how effective they are. Other people want to learn how to do that. They come out, they're true believers, they testify. Right? It's like the real true believers. They come out true believers. They do this shit. It's effective. People go, wait, this isn't bullshit. They go, no, it's not bullshit. I said, well, can we set up another one? Yeah. And by the third iteration, it had tripled.
And the thing is, you can apply this whole course to any kind of bill.
Any sort of thing. It's just here's the deal. We're just going to kick fuck a red pill down your throat. But the red pill isn't political philosophy. It's political IQ and political strategy. And that's the game changer, is we're just going to take you down the road to trying to understand what you don't understand.
And it is those little things like the 5 column chart that you were talking about. Like, that's a little thing that would do people, a wealth of good, because, like you said, some people might think, let's go after the double negatives. But you're like, no, let's solid up our base. Let's get our plus ones, get them in and get a party going.
Right. It's and little things like having my buddy Chuck lit drop, the Speaker of the House's district. Now all of a sudden he thinks we lit dropped his entire district.
It's so maniacal. I love it so much.
Yeah,
so much. I don't. Almost.
I feel like that is the Schadenfreude that you're talking about. That once you experience it yourself, like, you do that to a politician, like it. Would you say it's almost like better than any drug?
Yeah. I love hurting politicians' feelings. I love it. Man, okay, so like I'm not gonna say it's the best feeling in the world, but it's up there. You know what I mean? Like, it's up there. It'll make you purr a little bit. When I found out, because his phone was blowing up, and they traced it back to me, and I was like, the Speaker of the House in Arizona hates my guts. You did good, man. You did your thing. At least for the day, you earned your bits. You know what I mean? Like, my Liberty credit that day, I checked it. Like, I got it.
Nice.
I did my thing.
You probably had him calling the National Guard back from wherever they were just to protect him and his house.
He was mad. He was mad for sure. And he was going after, and this again, Bill Champions, like, he was going after Wendy and cursing her out, and how did you get my number? And he was saying that I what's that word? Doxed. I doxed him, but it's like, you're a real estate agent and you put out your number.
Oh, yeah.
Too late, bro. You're not doxing anybody, so get out of here. And then they were like,
It's
well,
publicly available already. Yeah.
and then like, Wendy was like, what do we do with this post? I was like, I'm here. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not taking it down. I said there are libertarians, MAGA types, constitutional, small L, populist right, because that is the coalition that's behind Bring Our Troops Home.
Why are there no Democrats? Why are there no lefties that can get on with this pro or anti-war message?
I think nature's restoring back to its original setting. So I tell Wendy, like, there are like bikers, there are just straight up conservatives, constitutional, small, big, populists that are watching this. This has national attention. Everybody is hyper focused on how these votes go. Wendy, if I take down that post with his number, they'll chew right through me and you. And she goes, you know what? Let's keep that up. Let's do it. Let's rock. And she continued to take arrows, but it works. It works. And it's like, and trust me, it's a little tense. It's like, remember the holdout with like McCarthy and all those guys, and how like, all of a sudden Fox News was holding out on the guys who were actually trying to do something positive.
Yep.
Right. Instead of being feckless on the right, they were trying to actually get changes and rules and whatever. But it was nasty for them. Same thing. When you go after a politician, there's a lot of vitriol, there's a lot of piss and vinegar, but you just sit there and bask in the glow of it because you understand, especially as a libertarian, how god awful these pieces of shit are. So it's great. I love it.
Oh, I love it so much. Yeah, dude. We would be good friends. You got to come to Florida. You should come to like Texas said. You should come to LPF.
I'm gonna be in Orlando, for Alec.
Is that the Austrian event or whatever that's happening?
No. This is it's sort of like they do like policy models on different issues. So people just come there to see like what's good policy and stuff, and I think that this is good policy. So
when is that going down?
I think it's July, man.
July, okay.
Yeah, we were trying to do a school right after that, but I don't really know a lot. And I'd want to at least do like 50 people for July, so I didn't have the time, so I didn't set up
schools whenever you can get the amount of people.
Right, because I have to fly out the guys, Dan and Sean. We gotta pay for the venue, we gotta pay for the food, we have to pay for the hotels, we have to book the flights, all that shit. So we just need enough people to justify coming out. But one thing we know and we understand is that whatever number we started with, we're gonna double by the time we're done. It's just like it's really nice to watch, because you know how you feel when you talk to people like normies on philosophy is how I feel watching people take this pill, because it even is a red pill for a lot of libertarians. They just like didn't even know that there was a world that they didn't even understand. It's like the same thing of like, you have to read it, bro. What's it called? Anatomy of the State, dude. It's wild. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of excitement, but on a different issue. You see what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like they should be teaching this kind of stuff. Like if you're a political science major, which I had like a minor in political science in college. Okay. This is the kind of stuff they need to teach you, is like how to lobby, how to politically strategize. And at least I didn't get any of that in my major.
And that's good that they don't understand that. We want to make sure that our enemies are dumb and feckless, right? That's like the white pill here, is that I see in Mitch's background. That's the white pill here, is that, thank God our enemies are very stupid, right? If not, we'd be in a world of trouble.
Yeah. Mitch, you have anything? I feel like I've been talking the whole time.
Yeah, no. You really ate up a lot of the questions I had, but honestly, I didn't want to intervene because it was just flowing so well. But I will say you did kind of touch on that idea of the remnant. So I got to ask, for those who might not be familiar with that.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate kind of?
Yeah. So there is an essay by Albert J. Nock. It's called Isaiah's Job. And essentially what it is just a modern tale of the political, let's say, truth teller, right? And in this, he says, go out there, speak the truth. Not, again, knowing there's a couple constants. It's all going to hell. You don't know who's out there. You're kind of essentially talking to the dark. and that you don't know how many or where they are. You just have to keep going out there and tell people the truth. You know, give it to them good and strong and keep on giving it to them is literally part of that essay. And then there's a part of it. He said, I should probably tell you that this is all going to come crumbling down anyway. And then he asks, well, what's the point of doing this? He goes, you don't understand. These are the people that are going to rebuild society. This is what you want. And if you start tailoring your message to, some people want this, or, he calls it hot and cold fits, right? The sways of wherever the political narrative is at the moment. If you do that, if you sell out, they'll never come running to you. But if you tell them the truth, they'll come running. And I like Tom Woods as a good interpreter. He goes, when you burn that, when you burn that 3x5 card of allowable opinion, the remnant get a whiff of that smoke and they come running. And that's what it is. And I truly believe that because I've been in this movement for a minute, been in several orgs, and I've noticed that that's what works, is you just give it to them good and strong. And no one's ever convinced my mind by giving it to me like nicely. I've been changed and I've been moved on my process of where I am politically, philosophically, because someone just told me, here's the fucking truth. And if you don't like it, pick a number, get in line and kiss my ass. Mm-hmm. And I went, okay, let me think about this. And that's what you have to do if you care about people. Like I said, you should have like tears in your eyes, but you're doing this because you love them, where you're saying, I'm here to help you. It's not, if you do it out of malice or to bully someone, you're just a dick. If you do it because you realize, dude, we're kind of fucked here.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit of a different thing. It comes out of love. It might not sound like it at the time, but it's kind of just a little bit of cold water in your face. And that's what I love so much about that essay, that I just highly recommend that. It's one of those things that you read, man, and it wrecks your day, because one of the things that I read and I just understood it. Like I understood what was in there and it just fucked me up. I went and listened to the audio file of it. I've read it, I don't know how many times over the years and years. I think I literally, here, let me see. I have this. I could probably show you here. One of my favorite parts in Real Descent is chapter 24, where they talk about Ron Paul. And what's funny is that I had Tom Wood sign a quote here about parts of the remnant. So that's how serious it is for me, that it has to be talked about. And we do talk about it in the school as well. So that's what I want the message to be, is that this is what this is out there. This is just another way of seeking the remnant.
Well, I can see you're already drumming up some support from Hector down here. He's already wanting to coordinate some training and stuff, and I would love to come out. Where do you hold it? Do you hold it out there? And
you choose. So if you go, a couple things I should mention that I haven't already is I want to at least give the websites out. Go to bringourtroopshome.us. There's defendtheguard.us, and then there's to donate, right? Because again, we're a nonprofit, but we're not a charity. Is the 10-7 Club, right? So go to the 10-7 Club and donate. So again, bringourtroopshome.us, defendtheguard.us, and send 10-7 Club.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, definitely go check all of those places out and help out the nonprofits where you can. And you build up a nonprofit like this, and you get some wheels behind it. It could be a force of nature. There's a lot of nonprofits that do a lot of work. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I work a lot with Decrim Nature Florida, and we're just now getting the ball rolling on that issue. That's city level resolutions, though. This is huge. If we could get something going at a state level.
Yeah, and go. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's it.
I wish people understood how many Liberty orgs have people inside of their ranks that truly support bills like this, but where the organization doesn't. How many veteran orgs has people rank and file in their system that are supportive of this bill, where the heads of it are not, and they make the same argument that leftists or the establishment or these generals make, and they make that as an excuse for why they can't support this. We're a grassroots org, and these big moneyed organizations that are like pro-vet, pro-liberty, all this stuff, are out there in the ether, walking among us, making pretend, and they don't support this bill. We do this with a budget. So, and we're effective. We have it, I think, filed in 19 states this year. We got it filed. We're talking about a 3-man band, my guy. And these are multi-million-dollar orgs that'll maybe put out a video of like why you should care about vets. Well, that's nice. So when you go to the 10-7 Club, right, you go to bringourtroopfilm.us/10-7 Club or just whatever. When you actually do this, and this is the only reason I'm saying this, is because this is how we do it. It's $10, $25. Like that's what I wake up to in the morning. It says, boom, Mitch donated $25. Bam. That's it. Hector put in 10. That is how this organization gets by. That's how we make the decision. As opposed to like being funded by billionaires or millionaires or whatever the fuck. We do ours on a shoestring budget, and somehow we smoke the ever-living fuck out of everybody else when it comes to actually getting shit done. It's unbelievable what we do with what we have. Mm-hmm. And so if anybody hears this and you're considering it, it will actually go out and get used properly. And the one thing we value is people that donate, because that's all we have. We don't have something to fall back on. That's how we get by. We don't have, fancy offices and a couple $1 million to spend on bullshit. Every cent is accounted for.
That's what it takes. Yeah, it's Mitch.
Amen to that.
Yeah, awesome. You guys have you guys been on Tim Pool?
No, I want to say, dude. Yeah, I talked to Scott about it, and I was like, "Is there a way to get Dan on there, dude? Because I would love for Dan to go on there."
I feel like that's right up their alley too. It's only a matter of time. I
talked to Ian Crossland here for the event, for the Mises Caucus event, and he was all about it.
Yeah.
So like, I'm hoping like someone can reach out or something. Like maybe like Dave could say you should have Dan McKnight on or Scott, But I don't think Tim Pool's reached out to Scott.
Mitch, clip this and send it to Bert. clip it and send it to Bert.
Dude. What? Clip this and send this to Bert?
Yes. Get him.
I mean, maybe Bert has enough power being king of the Discord.
Yeah, maybe, dude. Get defend the guard on Tim Pool.
Dude, it would be so cool. And like Dan's a great speaker, and he's like a real guy. He's not like he's not some puppet. No one's got his hand up his ass. He's a man. He's a normal guy. He speaks proficient, dude, and can articulate these ideas as well. And so that's why I would love to see it. And then just also hammer this in. I want the coalition all over. And another thing I might recommend to you guys, go to your local GOP meetings as well. Mm-hmm. Make friends, make allies, right? Like there's no reason why you can't be working together. I told this to the guys over in Kansas. MAGA grandmas stood there and they did the prayer, they did the national anthem, and they refused to leave as many times as those legislators tried desperately to push the mandates and the lockdowns. They try to push it back to the next legislative season, which would have been next year. MAGA grandmas, small L's, populist right types stood there and they forced a vote on the mandates and the lockdowns. And MAGA grandmas brought more liberty to the state of Kansas than any libertarian. And I tell them that in all sincerity, as like they did a great thing. Mm-hmm. But also you should try to like, hey, what would happen if you got on board with them?
Yeah, don't let the grandmas beat you. Work with them.
Yeah, don't let them. Now they're gonna because they're savage.
Yeah.
But don't let them outwork you. You know what I mean? So like that's just something to take in there. It's like build allies. Like these people, you have a lot in common with them, especially the way that the new right is forming. It is like a blend of Buchanan with Rothbard. And so it's not our cup of tea. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you'll be so mad to work with them on a lot of issues. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised by some of these people.
Issue coalitioning is that's 100%. Right up our alley. So yeah, you have to be able to do that, especially 100%. When you're working with the numbers we're working with.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, without
I mean, and trust me, I say this as a guy who's led teams, and we've knocked 125,000 doors, not for the best guy, but just to show, like, we knocked 125,000 doors for Gary Johnson's Senate campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I've knocked more doors for Big L's and Big L's.
Yeah. Knock more doors than I have.
That's not, that doesn't come from a point of hatred. It comes from like, I love you guys. So I'm just giving you the details.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right on all of it. People need to get a kick in the butt sometimes, especially especially whenever it comes to getting out and mobilizing.
If it's done out of love, yeah, I agree. If it's done out of malice or bullying, get fucked. There's plenty of all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of not a real libertarian calling that sort of stuff on our side.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not. I don't think that it's the tale is over. I think the tale begins when they get their shit together. And I've said that that's going to be the big difference maker, not necessarily in elections, but with your weight in the game will be a lot more impactful when they're worried about, oh shit, they've got their shit together. So what if you find a good Republican that's excellent, on liberty issues? Maybe he's bad on like one thing. Like he's not going to end the drug war completely, but he's fine with, hey, I don't think that we should be going after these people full. And I think that this police state is fucked. And I think that, we need to focus on privacy. And I think we need to shrink the actual size of government. And they're not, Rothbardians, but they're better than some of the Hayekians that are actually big L's. Right? And you find that guy and you find him the primary, a really shitty Republican in your district. And then if that guy doesn't win, you have the libertarian to run big L and the general to also hurt him. Like when you can start doing that, and then you can make calls and say, hey, let's help this guy out. Hey, let's help this guy out. Hey, let's mobilize for this issue. And when you put your weight behind it and they notice that there's real weight behind it, that's where you'll have some sort of reverence, because that's when you're feared. There's no sort of this whole idea of like this access based. Oh, this is what I would get from like a bunch of the orgs. Whenever I would talk to them out on the state level, I'd be like, cool, all right, we've got this like free speech bill that we're putting through, and we've talked to the leadership, and the speaker says he really likes it. So what he's going to have me do is he's going to set up a whole committee, right, where all we're going to do is study this issue, and we're going to pour into it, and we're going to get all the details. And you know what leadership's doing, right? Is they're sending you chasing the wizard, not focused on, hey, how come leadership likes it. They want me to do this whole thing about it. They want me to really go deep diving into this. But where was the bill introduced? Where's it been heard? Where was it? Essentially, they're just having you go play dumb that way. They're spinning you up and sending you in a different direction that says, be gone.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you get. And all those free speech bills and all, even Defend the Guard. I've seen this where they tried, I talked to leadership. That never gets you anywhere. It's when you get confrontational that you start to get, especially on, it's not controversial, but for normies, this is controversial. This is a controversial bill. And so confrontational politics is what will get right to work. It's what gets con carry, whatever, medical marijuana, all that shit, or recreational marijuana, the drug war, all that bullshit. This is what solves that. Is they didn't get it by begging leadership to do the right thing.
Yeah.
All the time, Hector. All the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. So basically they tell you, I talked to leadership, giving you the runaround, say, put it in a committee. And I want to see it on record that someone talked about it. I want to know who's supporting it, who's not supporting it. And then I want to read the legislative notes and understand why they're not supporting it. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. They're patting you on the head and making you feel important by giving you're going to be in charge of this here committee to hear things out and really pour through the detail. Okay, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they just file the bill? Let's get this heard in committee, and then we'll pour through it too, and then we'll do that as well. But they never do that, and that's the point. Is that I've watched really nice libertarians go up to leadership, and I've watched really nice like Republicans go up to leadership and say, "Can we please?" And they go, "Oh, sweetie, that's a nice bill you got there." And it's been years, a year, 2 years, in this case, 5 years or more, where I've just seen these people like still waiting on this to get heard, rather than this is the bill that I want. God help you if you don't support it.
And
here's the thing:
you carry a stick like that, yeah, it has to be heavy too. You have to mean
correct.
something. Yeah.
And so we're not going to get everybody to be Ron Pauler, right? We're not going to believe that, that all of a sudden do you really think that 16 Republicans in Arizona Senate all of a sudden became pure Ron Paulers? No, but this goes to the example. I don't care if you see the light, so long as you feel the heat.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to feel the heat. The heat has to come.
That's true. And that's whenever you put their publicly available address into more public eyes, and then 40,000 pamphlets all around the surrounding area. And they're
correct. You have to terrorize your politicians, and I'm okay with that. It's healthy for you.
I think it's perfectly healthy. Yeah. So we're coming up on the hour. Thank you for your time. And hopefully, if you've been watching this, share it, blast it out. If you care about bringing the troops home, if you care about anti-war issues, Defend the Guard's your organization.
Yeah. Please go to bringourtroopshome.us, defendtheguard.us, and go to 107club.com. And if you can, make a donation. This actually matters. And hey, don't end up cuddling with the chick. Close the deal, right?
Close that deal. That's what I'm talking about. All right, Mitch, you got anything?
All right. As always, go catch me on Twitter at MitchConnorJLo, but also go check out 1776 Swag for all the best Liberty merch and all the other stuff you would love out there. Rob, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm opening up for Mo Alexander tomorrow at a VFW, the American Legion out in Navarre. So I'm definitely going to drop Defend the Guard at the American Legion tomorrow.
Yo, I have a resolution I can send you to. Of other American Legions that have already put forward their support on this.
Oh yeah, email it to me, and I might, if I have time, I'll drop by a FedEx and be like, laminate this, and I'll bring it back. I'll bring it to them. Yeah,
I have a ledge packet, a support packet, and a resolution from them, and one from the ACLU.
Yeah, we'll talk after we end the live session, but that's what's going on. I started a new Instagram comedy page. Follow that, R. Vincent Comedy. Gonna be clipping some stuff and putting it up. Decrim Nature, Florida. That's it.
All righty. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming out, Diego. We'll see you next week. Peace.